Hi folks, welcome back to Fishing with Den. So for those of you that watched last week's video, you might recognise this swim. It's the same swim as last week on the big reservoir. Now last week, if you remember, that's when I was trying to do some underwater filming with my waterwolf camera, and in fact I did actually catch a fish. The downside was I also lost the fish, and I also lost the camera. Somewhere out there the whole thing got snarled up to, I think it must have twisted around or something. Anyway, I lost the whole thing. So I've ordered another one, but it's going to be a few weeks before it arrives, and so I've just come back down here today to do something a little bit different, which I'll tell you about in a second. But first, thank you very much to my viewers, my subscribers, who actually contributed towards the cost of the new camera. And in fact, you got Christopher, Ovidiu, Heroan, or Jeroen as I call him, and Jeff from the UK. They all contributed to my new camera, and in fact, between the four of them, they've actually contributed about half the cost. So thanks very much for that, guys. It's much appreciated. I'll try not to lose the next one, although I am going to give it another go, maybe in this swim, I don't know, but we'll see how we go on that one. But anyway, back to today, and today we're going to be using a slider float. Again, if you watched last week, you probably know that it's 25-29 feet deep at about sort of 40 meters out there. Coming back, you got sort of 19, 16, whatever. But I'm fishing on the slider, and just so for those of you that don't know what a slider float is, let's just talk about that very quickly. This is like a normal float setup to what most people see. Hook, which is actually a size 10, 2 or 3 shots down the line, and then a bulk under the float. The only difference between a slider and a normal float, oops, just take that off then, is that the float actually is designed for deep water. I'm going to be fishing in about 14 feet of water because I've just plumbed it up, and you'll notice that the float goes up and down. Now, if you haven't actually seen a slider fishing before, I've done a video on how to set one up, and I'll put a link up above there now for you. But you might be able to see this green bead sliding up and down the line, and then further up at the 14-foot point, or 13-ish foot, something like that, you've got this sliding stop knot. And again, that's all mentioned in the video I've just been talking about. So what happens is you cast in, you let it settle, sorry, you don't let it settle, you cast in, you give it some line, and the line all pulls through, like I just showed you from this one, where it all pulls through to there, until it hits that stop knot, and then you're fishing at that 13-14 foot depth. Now, I have put out 2 or 3 balls of ground bait by hand. Whoops. So what I'm going to do, and I've never tried this here before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 bits of corn on, and I'm going to chuck it out there to about, I think it's about 15 or 16 turns on the reel. Let's call it, by the time I've reeled in fact, let me show you that as well. What I'm going to do, if I cast out, I'm actually on a clip at the moment, so I'm going to put the thing on 1, 2, 3, 4 to sink the line. Then I'm going to undo the line clip and allow the float to settle. You'll see this a bit more in a second. I've got that camcorder down there which I'll use to zoom in with, but that's actually pulling through the line now, and in a second that will settle. I've set up so we're just off the bottom. Okay, so that worked then, didn't it? I actually put the ground bait in after I'd just set up, and I haven't put any more in. I've been talking to you, so they're obviously hanging around down there, but that's a good start, isn't it? I'm using 8-pound main line. It's 0.28mm, which is very heavy for UK stuff, but for over here with all the rocks and things and the way the fish are crazy, well, it just works. So we'll see if I get this one in. I don't think it's all that big, it's the usual sort of 4-pound size, but I'll get that camcorder set up and we'll go through a bit more of the way the slider works. You might be able to see that under the water there, just coming in now. Here we go. That's the line, sorry, the knot going through the top rings, slider knot. And come on, fish. tackle wise, by the way, rod is a Drennan Series 7 13-foot power carp, which is probably a good, oh, I don't know, at least 8 years old. They probably came out a lot before that. They've been discontinued ages ago, but look, it's a decent rod. It works. You don't have to have all of the posh gear that you see on the match fishing films and the people that are being sponsored. There's actually a carp following this one around underwater. It's actually literally going with it. Wow. Okay, so that's the first one, and that's literally first chuck and straight under. Now whether that'll continue or not, I don't know, but that had only just settled, and it's probably in the region of £5, I would think. Yeah, something like £5. I couldn't get my hand around it. 4-ish, 5-ish, thereabouts. Right, let's get back in there and do another one. Right, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to set the other camera up, and then we can take it from there. Because if I chuck it out again, it goes under. I'm going to be all over the place, aren't I? But back in a sec. Okay, and we're ready to rock and roll. I just hope that wasn't a fluke. I'm going to put another one in, I think, just kick things off a bit. I'm giving it a decent sort of bit of a squeeze, so because you've got 13-14 feet of water there, so you're going to be wanting it to get down a bit further before it breaks up. There we go. Maybe that first one was a fluke. I haven't had a bite since. I've been going only about 10-15 minutes though, but yeah, well, keep the feed going in, Den, keep the feed going in. Oh, that could have been an indication there. I'm fishing just off bottom, because obviously I'm on a slope as well. So if necessary I can draw it in so I'm on the bottom. But I find that just off seems to work quite well in these places. Not that I've done it for a while, but well, we'll soon find out. We can always change depths and experiment. I'm pretty sure there's stuff around there because I could just see it just doing that. That looks like a bite. It was only a bob, but it was a bite. They aren't twitchy here, they just take it. Come on, fish. It's taken me about 20 minutes or so to get this after that first one. I've been seeing little bobs and twitches, but oh, woken up, hasn't he? Might be a little bit bigger. It's quite deep down the edge here as well, of course. Come on, fish. Just to finish what I was saying about tackle, £8 mainline but with a £6 breaking strand bottom, and that £6 is again Guru dragline. None of this high-tech stuff, just something that'll take the pressure and all the abrasion from sand and rocks. It's 0.25 millimeters, and this isn't a massive fish, but in fact it's smaller than the last one. I thought it was bigger. Well, but for those of you that haven't done slider fishing before, you can see how the float is actually back down to 3 feet above the fish. It just slides down, hence the name. Right, go on, fish. I think you're about ready. I was going to do a bit of ledgering today, but to be honest, I might just carry on doing this. Come on. You always want to leap out of the net. So that's 2, isn't it? Oh, actually it's not too bad. It's deceiving when they're in the water. It's probably about 3.5, 4 pound, I suppose. As usual, he swallowed it. Even with that tiny little indication I got, and he still swallowed it. It's not far down, but it's just awkward to get to. There we are. Well, 2. Get some bait out there. This is actually last week's ground bait as well. I just froze it. Bought it again this week. Waste not, want not. Well, it's bigger. Might be. Then again, who knows? But that's 2 bites in 2 chucks. Can make your arm ache this real quick. Again, just a word on the float. It's one of my homemade slider floats, and again I'll put a link up above now for you if you want to make one. You can buy slider floats in the shops, and you can make other floats work as sliders, but I made these because they're only semi-loaded. You don't want a fully loaded float when you're doing this sort of thing, and you don't want an unloaded float. It's kind of in betweeny, so it is a bit of a specialist float. But if you want to make one, as I say, link was up above a few seconds ago. And this one takes 7 AAAs, which is what, 7, 8, so it's about 5.5 grams then, isn't it? Something like that. Come on, fish. Just using the old MAP reel with the automatic clip system on. I've got 5 of these and I've had them for years, as again regular viewers will know all that, but for anyone that's new, these things when they first came out were costing me something like 50 quid. They're a bit more expensive now, I think they're up to about 60 quid. And they've been out for donkey's years, but they've got that automatic clip release system on them, so you don't have to worry about being caught on the line clip. And the only reason I'm using the line clip today is so I can get the float in exactly the same place every time, so it comes up on that camera down there. He said hopefully, because I'm not sure if I'm getting that video. But anyway, this is a bit bigger. This is sort of probably 5.5, this one. And he's just in his lip nicely. But yeah, what's that, 3? It's alright, isn't it? Yeah, there we go again. I'm trying not to let it go off the line clip so I don't have to re-clip. Are we stuck on something? I don't know if it's a bigger fish or something. That's definitely not moving too well. Maybe I just caught round himself, but it's moving. Good bend in the rod though, isn't it? Come on. Come on, fish. Oh, he's a somewhat bigger fish. Not much. That was a strange fight, wasn't it? Come on. There we go. Yes, he's a good 6 pounder, that one. Just in the side of the lip. I'll try not to drop him, eh? Oh no, look, you've seen a 6 pound fish before, haven't you? Just the 2 bits of corn on the hook. I know it's a size 10, but looks about right to me. As before, just let the bail arm off. Allow the line to peel out. 7 AA float, 5 grams or so, so it pulls the line off the reel quite well. And then once it sits properly, more or less properly anyway, you can just take up the slack. There we are. Wouldn't necessarily always do it this way, but as I say, I'm trying to fish to a camera, so that's why I'm doing this. And also, I'm sure some people are going to turn around and say, well, then just do a float ledgering job, mate, you'll do it that way. But that's not the point of this one. A float ledgering, yes, it would work out there, but it would have the bait nailed to the bottom with the feeder or with a bomb next to it. I'm trying to fish off the bottom because the fish tend to mill around just off bottom, and I tend to find I catch more fish just off bottom than I do on the bottom. Just keep the bait going in, a bit far that time. You don't have to worry too much about being totally accurate in these places. The fish are milling around anyway, so not a big issue. That one's off the clip. As I say, you wouldn't normally fish with a clip for this. It's only that I'm doing it for the camera, and it really doesn't make that much difference if you're a metre either side of where you want to be when you cast out. It's the fish are going to be spread out a bit anyway, and that's kind of what you want. Not like on a commercial when you're trying to pinpoint fish and things like that. So here we go. Taking some line, isn't he? Love the clutch on this reel. As I say, it's not the most modern reel anymore, but still does the trick. Not even all that big, look. And that might even be just on the outside of its mouth, I'm not sure. Like peas in the pod, these fish. Oh no, it is inside its mouth. Oh no, it's not, it's actually just on the outside of its cheek. But that's alright. It would go in the net. Is that 4 or 5? I don't know. Yay! He's off to the right. Definitely gone off to the right. It's also taken it off the line clip, so what I've done is put some of that purple permanent marker on there on the line, just so that I can get straight back to it if I need to. Oh, he's off to there somewhere. I think there's some rocks at that end, I'm not sure. Come on, fish. Well, nothing big so far, but there's plenty of them, isn't there? In fact, When I first hooked this one, I thought it was going to be quite a big one, but he's not. He's another 4 or 5 pounder. Wow. Found if you use a size 14 hook in these places, especially on the bigger fish, that you can actually pull out of them, which, well, it is what it is, but that's what happens. Oh. Come on, that'll do ya. Yeah, he's probably 5. They're actually short and fat, these ones. Well, I say fat, thick I suppose. Right. I don't know, is that now 6, 7, something like that. Just throw it then. Watching for bobs and things, and I'm about to strike, and oh. No wind at all today, is there? Must admit, I often like a little bit of a ripple on these places because it's normally pretty gin clear. Might be a little bit murkier than last week though this week, I don't know why. That's a bite. Didn't take off the clip, which is good. Saves me messing around. Another slow, ponderous one. Would be nice to get something over 10 pounds today. I know there's bigger fish in here. Yeah, well, he's bigger. You watch him fight any second now. You'll see the net and that'll be it. Come on. And that certainly wasn't very long after it settled either, was it? That bite. Oh, that's a fairly rubbish fight until the end, wasn't it? I don't mind them. And again, he's probably 6-ish. Not quite swallowed it. Yeah, no idea how many I'm on now, by the way. Bait should be hitting bottom next 2 or 3 seconds. Well, I say bottom, getting to the end of its tail. Literally, these last 2 bites have been as it settled properly. No, we've still got the clip on, that's good. Got all this surface muck again today that we had last week. He certainly knows he's hooked, doesn't he? He's no bigger than the last one, but I tell you what, he certainly fought better, didn't he? Oh! In the net and out of the net again. I think the average is slightly bigger now. He's a good 5. Just a question of getting into a rhythm now. Bait on, cast out, bait out, fish on. That's the plan. I'm caught round the tip at the moment, so always got to be careful of that when you've got heavy duty kit on. You don't want to be cracking off, do you? Oh, nearly hit me float. Must be getting better. It's only taken me 70 years nearly to get to this point. Yeah. Yeah, pulled it off the clip. Well, none of the other ones have pulled out this much, have they? And I bet it's only about 6 or 7 pound after all this. Come on, give him some pressure and bring him back. Well, maybe not then. I love it when they do this. Well, this guy's heading for the hills, isn't he? I think he must have taken a good 20-30 metres of line. And I can't do anything with him. Well, he's kind of coming my way, but I say kind of. He's off out just over there somewhere now. Oof. Come on, fish. I love this rod. As I say, it may be old, but great rod. Rings are a bit small for sort of major distances, but it's not designed for that. It's a power rod, so for me it's not necessarily perfect, but it's not far off. You don't need to keep buying all the latest gear. Oh, he's coming back towards me slowly, but I don't know what to make of this at the moment. If this turns out to be another 6 or 7 pounder, I'll be amazed. Well, I won't actually, but must be getting somewhere within the next sort of 20 turns or so before he's in. It's off up to the left now, going that way. He is kind of just slowly chugging towards me. Maybe he's out of puff. I know I am. Arm's killing me. Great action in this rod. Kind of a throughish action actually. There he is, there's the float. Alright, so what have we got? Well, he's bigger, but probably not much. Boat up there with water skiers on. Come on. Oh. Well, actually, I reckon that's going on 9 or 10 pounds, that one. I'll get him out and show you. Not going to weigh him. Oops. guys, look. Turn them around that way for you. Well, probably 8 or 9 anyway. Well, I'd have to say it's all been going fairly well so far, hasn't it? I don't know exactly how many fish I've had now. It's a fair few. Only been here a couple of hours or so. But yeah, the average stamp of fish has been pretty good as well. I suppose 4 to 6 pounds would be a fair sort of average. But it's only a short session today, so I think I might have 1 or 2 more fish, and then, oh hang on, is that a bite? Then I might think about packing up, because it's a 2-hour journey to get here and a 2-hour journey back, so I don't want it to be too long a day. That looks like it's, oh, I touched something. But yeah, I mean, so far so good, as I say. I've really enjoyed today. Hope you guys did too. I don't know how often I'll use this technique in the future, but it just goes to show that you don't have to use a great big feeder or fish on the pole to catch lots of carp on a great big deep lake or reservoir like this one. So, as I say, I've enjoyed it a great deal actually today. Hope you did too. So, I suppose at that point we should leave it there. See you next time. Bye for now.